This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area. This, this, this should be played. This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Shalom, Salama, Siyeme, and Shalom to you always, family abroad. It's your man Yashar Rawls, aka RedLetter Rap. You know my lovely wife, Gaza Red, is with us as well.
Shalom, family.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, Shalom, family. Don't forget to support the platform by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing, please, fam. Definitely let everybody know that we're live right now. We're getting ready to get started into the second book of Maccabees. And so, once again, like, this is my first time reading these scriptures. All right. I don't want nobody thinking that I went ahead and read all this stuff before, because there's still so much that I still need to read. You know, and I've always made that clear that there's a whole lot that the Most High is still trying to get me to sit down, take time with and read. So there's a lot of times that, you know, we read all this stuff for the first time together, unless y'all have already read it, you know. And if you have, all praises, you know, Kali Yadai, you know, all praises. But if you haven't, you're in the right place, all right? Because we're going to read these scriptures. We definitely want to like break these scriptures down along the way. And there's something very, very special that I was looking at when I pulled this one up to start just even looking at the first chapter. And it's like, oh my goodness, it's I think it's very, very powerful for this day and age, all right? Because you'll see, all right? So before we get into it, baby, how's your week been? Like some of the things you've been noticing that the Most High have been delivering and things.
I think for me, well, first of all, my week has been all is well, all is well. I'm all grateful for all opportunities, challenges. But with every challenge, there is a lesson to be learned, and there is growth within us. Um, and I guess to reiterate what I said before, from how the Most High has been reminding me is just reflecting on, you know, myself and a reflection, assessment of oneself, taking accountability with my actions and seeking the Most High, seeing if I'm pleasing to Him, and to just bring an awareness to me if there's anything that is displeasing in His sight that needs correction.
Mm. Mm. That's all. That's. Mm.
I think we definitely need to do a lot of that reflection. I mean, I've said it before, and I could hear Him more clearly as the days go by, because there is going to be a shift. There is going to be a transition, especially, you know, we are aware that we have the earthquakes in NYC, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New Jersey. Um, that's not something that happens all the time. And we really need to get it right, because we'll be held accountable for our own behaviors.
Yeah, there was something that I was watching earlier on when you came in the room and whatnot, because I was trying to get the PC squared away with everything, like trying to get space freed up on this hard drive. And so I think I was looking at either Salt of the Earth Ministries, and it was talking about some of the things that scientists and what's been going on in the media, and just little certain things here and there that, you know, they're kind of like slipping, or they spilling the beans, talking about with this eclipse that there's like earthquakes that, you know, that'll be happening either before, during, or after this eclipse, like especially during the eclipse, like so some kind of ellipse, that's what it's been kind of circulating, I guess. I don't know. I was just watching it just from the ministry thing. This is some of the things that they showed a news clipping about it, or from one of the different news stations or whatever. They kind of like quickly said it, just like in passing, as though it was like, oh, nothing to see here, just another earthquake, during the eclipse, okay, whatever, just quickly pass it on. So I don't know, family. But I would definitely just stay rooted in the word, and definitely just pay attention. Make sure that your youngins is paying attention. Um, we got Passover coming up, real soon, and so we got the scriptures to go through on there. I would definitely suggest, like, if you have young ones, sit down with them and read them Exodus. And if you have a Sefer, go to the portions in the book of Jasher that start going into the Exodus, and things like that, because and read that to them, so that way, all the way through, our young ones are going to have to bear witness to everything that the Most High is doing to this place and every place where we've been scattered. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that our people are going to have to bear witness to, and our children want to bear witness to, so it removes all excuses that we didn't see the Most High with the outstretched mighty arm redeeming us and pulling us from these places of captivity. You know what I'm saying? So that's why these Exodus scriptures are so important. Um, Now, no man knows the day or the hour, exactly when this Exodus is going to happen and when our redemption is going to be, but we all know it draws nigh. So it's very important that not only are we healing our households and you know and getting these things going in motion, but also don't forsake to put in that work, in your neighborhood, as far as like letting people in your neighborhood know who they are. We are all going to be held accountable for the work that we did or did not do. So I just pray that we all are all prayed up and we're all ready. Regardless, even for what we're getting ready to go through, we're getting ready to go through a move here soon. And so just moving from here to North Carolina, in preparation for other things to come, hoping that when it's time to get on the boat, we that much closer. So with all that being said, y'all could have been anywhere, and I'm glad y'all right here with us. And we're getting ready to get it started on with this second book of Maccabees. So if you can and you will, family, please bow your heads. Let's go ahead and bring these scriptures on in, but let's bring it in with prayer, all right? Abu Yehud, Most High Yah, Yasharal, we thank you for this day. Most High Yah, of Abaraham, of Yatasak and Yaquab, the one true Alheim of all creation, creator of all the heavens and earth and everything within. Yahuwah, Sabaoth, Abba, we come humbly before your throne, continuing to ask forgiveness of our sins and iniquities, those things known and unknown, and the sins and iniquities of our ancestors and forefathers, for we repent. Abba, as always, we ask that your Holy Spirit be a part of this household and every household watching, every household is going to watch later, and give us discernment over what's going on in these scriptures, everything you need us to pay attention to for the time in which these things happen and in the times to come. You've said in your word that what has been done will be done again. So that's why it's so important for us to pay attention to all scripture, for the historical references of things that did happen and how they play out throughout written recorded human history, and how they want to play out again before our time is up. So allow us to have discernment and understanding of what it is we read. Allow us to not be force-fed by anything, but to digest your word properly, to nourish our hearts, our minds, and our ruach. In your name and your son's name, Yahushua Hamashikah, we pray. So be it, and it is so. All right. So, family, let's go ahead and share screen with y'all right quick and bring on up Second Maccabees. All right. Um, Waiting on the PC. It's a little on the slow side right now. I'm trying to speed it up by getting space cleared on out. I'm gonna pull up some of your comments as we go. Now, see, there we go. Yep. All right. So the Sefer, or the book of the Maccabean Shannai, or also called the book of Second Maccabees. Now, I thought this was really important. This first verse right here, as I was kind of pulling this up, preparing it for everybody to see. Actually, hold on. Oh, there we go. There we go. So this right here, this first verse, the brethren, the Yahudim that be at Jerusalem and in the land of Yehud, wish unto the brethren, the Yahudim that are throughout Mitzrayim, health and peace. And so in this day and age, we know that we are in spiritual Egypt. So Mitzrayim, for those of y'all that don't know, is Egypt. And so in this day and age, we're scattered abroad in multiple spiritual Egypts and lands of bondage. And so I thought it was really, really kind of eye-catching real quick to see this, and was like, you know what, this is timeless. You know what? So no matter what, when we read this, we have to prayerfully think to all of our brethren, our sistren scattered abroad all over. So once again, wish unto the brethren, the Yahudim that are throughout Mizraim, health and peace. Al-Hayim be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, or Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaqub, his faithful servants, and give you all a heart to serve him and to do his will with a good courage, with a good courage and a willing mind, and open your hearts in his Torah and commandments, and send you peace, and hear your prayers, and be at one with you, and never forsake you in time of trouble. And now we be here praying for you. What time as Demetrius reigned in the 169th year, we the Yahudim wrote unto you in the extremity of trouble that came upon us in those years, from the time that Yakan and his company revolted from the Holy Land and kingdom, and burned the porch, and shed innocent blood. Then we prayed unto Yahuwah, and were heard. We offered also sacrifices and fine flour, and lighted the lamps, and set forth the loaves. And now see that ye keep the feast of Hanukkah in the month Kislev. In the 184th year, the people that were at Jerusalem and in Yehuda, and the council and Yehuda, sent greeting and health unto Aristobulus, King Ptolemy's master, who was of the stock of the anointed priests, and to the Yahudim that were in Mizrahim, so much so as Al-Hayim has delivered us from great perils. We think him highly as having been a battle against the king, for he cast them out that fought within the holy city. For when the leader was come into Persia, and the army with him that seemed invincible, they were slain in the temple of Naniah by the deceit of Naniah's priests. For Antiochus, as though he would marry her, came into the place, and his friends that were with him to receive money in the name of a dowry, which when the priests of Nania had set forth, and he was entered into a small company, into the compass of the temple, they shut the temple as soon as Antiochus was come in. And opening a private privy door of the roof, they threw stones like thunderbolts and struck down the captain, hewed them in pieces, smote off their heads, and cast them to those that were without. Blessed be our Elohim in all things, who has delivered up the wicked. Therefore, whereas we are now purposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 20th day of the month Kislev, we thought it necessary to certify you thereof, that ye also might keep it, as the feast of Hanukkah and of the fire, which was given us when Nechem Yahu or Nachem Yahu offered sacrifice. After that, he had built the temple and the altar. All right, so pause. We got a lot going on already. So a lot of y'all that was definitely here for the reading of the first Maccabees, we know that this Demetrius guy right here, right? We know that this guy, he had the unmitigated audacity to try to not once, twice, three times, or whatever, but try to sneak his way into being partners with any of the Maccabees that were in rule at that time, that had fought to redeem all of Yehuda, all of the land of Yehuda from these curses. We also know that he also tried to state that by his leadership, by his rule, we will be free from king tax, and we will be able to practice our laws again. When he was also one of the first ones with the Grecians that had tried to stomp out our laws. And then when he saw this other Antiochus right here, which the last one we saw was like Antiochus the Fourth. And so we saw that the great grandson of the first Antiochus was he definitely reneged on what he said. Now he did try to speak kind words at first, trying to say that we would go without king tax. The same thing Demetrius said. This is like a repeated thing. But then when they tried to talk to him, I think it was Jonathan who tried to talk to him last before Jonathan's death. And basically Antiochus was like, man, like, we're going to take everything. Everything that my family was ever responsible for building. Matter of fact, that tower that's inside of Jerusalem, yeah, I want that back. Everything that y'all took from us, I'm taking it back. And they're like, dude, you out your mind. Now I'm paraphrasing, but they're like, yo, you out your mind. Like these two cities over here that you want so bad, Akko and Yafo, you want these? All right, we'll give you 100 talents for them. And dude said, I want 500 talents for them. I said, nah, we'll give you 100. We took these because they came against us. Well, you thought we was just going to beat them and let them go? Nah, we took them over. Nah. But if you want them so bad, nah, we'll give you 100 talents for them, not the 500 you asking for. So this Antiochus, now it seems that he was coming into a marriage right here for Antiochus, as though he would marry her, talking about Ptolemy's daughter. Right here. King Ptolemy's master, who was of the stock of the anointed priest, and to the Yahudim that were in Mizraim, so much so as Alhaim has delivered us from great perils. We thank him highly as having been in battle against a king. Talking about the Most High, though, for he cast them out that fought within the holy city. For when the leader was coming to Persia, so they went into Persia to this Nania's temple right here. Nania and his priests, they set a trap for Antiochus, which rightfully so, because Antiochus was wicked, flat out wicked. All of them, every last Antiochus that there was wicked. All right, so, but now we get to this feast of Hanukkah or Hanukkah. All right, so this is something that, culturally speaking, it probably wouldn't be a horrible thing to partake of, but I would not keep it as a feast day that the Most High ordained. I want to make sure I repeat that. Culturally speaking, it probably wouldn't be a horrible thing to observe, but I would do not hold it in such high regard as the same feast days that the Most High ordained. There's a reason why in Isaiah he says that your feast days and your Shabbats, I can't away with them. I can't stand them. I hate them. The Most High has said this many a time through the prophets.
I think he was saying that more towards because we have people who are doing these things and they have they don't have a heart. They think they have a heart posture of Yah, but they really don't. They're not. They're doing things like ritualistically and traditionally. Like even if you do it culturally, if you're doing it traditionally, but you're not doing it because you're tapping into the spiritual piece of it, the relationship piece. You're not doing it with a heart posture of love. See, love is everything.
Yeah.
You can do everything the Most High says to do, but if there is no love and you're doing it, and the love starts with loving Him, right? But you also have to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. You have to love Yah with all your heart. You have to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. So when with that scripture that you're talking about, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, you're keeping the Shabbats, you're keeping the feast days, but your heart posture, your ruach does not align with my ruach. You do these things and supposedly honor to me, but you stink. Your life stinks. I'm tired of the hypocrisy.
Right.
It's a huge hypocrisy. It's like those people who wrap their heads, wear fringes, keep the Shabbats, and keep the feast days, but they don't look, other than their attire, their behaviors, many of their behaviors or their attitudes don't look any different
Right.
from people who are in the secular world. It's the same, it's just the same thing. That's what he means by that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's basically what I'm getting at. You said it in more words, but yeah, it's like I said, culturally, it wouldn't be a bad idea to observe it, but as long as you keep the love in it, as you stated, right? So, and also understanding, the history that goes along with it. So, just as all the other feast days that we observe, well, I'm saying just as well as all the other feast days that we observe, and we're supposed to be reading the scriptures to understand why we observe them, why we keep these feast days that the Most High gave us. And so that's one of the things that I was trying to get at. But you're very, very right talking about keeping the love
And,
as being first and foremost.
and I would like to say, I've heard this thing one time, and I'm pretty sure that I would hear it again if I asked people, especially for women who are married. Okay, the answer, I'm doing this because my husband's doing it and because he told me, that is terrible. You should be educated as to why your husband is having you do that. Why is he having you do that? You should have background information. You should be able to explain. Husbands, you should be teaching your wives. You are the closest thing to Yahusha, to Yah. You have a responsibility to teach your wives, not just tell them what to do. And wives, you also have a responsibility to get understanding, not just, oh, I'm just doing this because my husband told me to do it, I just want to do it. That's ridiculous.
All right. So let's see here. We last left off of verse 19. For when our fathers were led into Persia, the priests that were then devout took the fire of the altar privily and hid it in a hollow place of a pit without water, where they kept it sure, so that the place was unknown to all men. Now, after many years, when it pleased Alhaim, Nakamyahu, or Nakamyahu, being sent from the king of Persia, did send the posterity of those priests that had hid it to the fire. But when they told us, they found no fire. But when, right here, but when they told us, they found no fire, but thick water. Then commanded he them to draw it up and to bring it. And when the sacrifices were laid on, Nakamyahu commanded the priests to sprinkle the wood and the things laid thereupon with the water. When this was done, and the time came that the sun shone, which afore was hid in the cloud, there was a great fire kindled, so that every man marveled. And the priests made a prayer while the sacrifice was consuming. I say both the priests and all the rest, Jonathan beginning, and the rest answering thereunto as Nakam Yahu did. And the prayer was after this manner: O Yahuwah, Yahuwah Al-Hayim, creator of all things, who is fearful and strong, and righteous and merciful, and the only and gracious King, the only giver of all things, the only just, almighty, and everlasting. You that deliver Yasharah from all trouble, and did choose the fathers and sanctify them. Receive the sacrifice for your whole people, Yasharah, and guard your own portion and sanctify it. Gather those together that are scattered from us. Deliver them that serve among the heathen. Look upon them that are despised and abhorred, and let the heathen know that you are our Alhaim. Punish them that oppress us, and with pride do us wrong. Plant your people again in your holy place, as Mashah has spoken, and the priests sung psalms and thanksgiving. So I think this would be a very, if you have a Sefer and you're following along in the Sefer right now, or if you don't have one, definitely let me know, and I'd be more than happy to share First Maccabees and Second Maccabees with you if you do not have a Sefer. All right, but if you do have a Sefer, um, this right here, let's see, Second Maccabees, right here, verse 24 through 29. 24 through 29. This is a beautiful prayer that we should meditate on every now and again. Now, when the sacrifice was consumed, Nakam Yahu commanded the water that was left to be poured on the great stones. When this was done, there was kindled a flame, but it was consumed by the light that shined from the altar. So when this matter was known, it was told the king of Persia that in the place where the priests that were led away had hid the fire, there appeared water, and that Nakam Yahu had purified the sacrifices therewith. Then the king, enclosing the place, made it holy, after he had tried the matter. And the king took many gifts and bestowed thereof on those who he would gratify. And Nakam Yahu called this thing Naftar, or Nafthar, which is as much as to say a cleansing, but many men call it Nefu. So what we're seeing here definitely is that this Nakam Yahu, right? So I'm not ashamed to admit it. What I'm trying to understand right here as I read this, starting here, verse 20. Now, after many years, when it pleased Al-Hayim, Nakam Yahu, being sent from the king of Persia, did send the posterity of those priests that had hid it to the fire. So, matter of fact, back up a little bit. I understand this. For when our fathers were led into Persia, so this is one of our captivities, the priests that were then devout took the fire of the altar, privily, and hid it in a hollow place of a pit without water. So this fire of the altar, this is what I'm trying to understand here. Now, so if y'all are getting it, by all means, put it in the chat. What am I missing here? Because I'm under the understanding that we can make a fire and put it on the altar on the altar anytime. So in one sense, I'm thinking, okay, natural fire. In a spiritual sense, I'm thinking of scrolls, something that we would read for inspiration's sake, or prayers, scripture. That's what I'm thinking of in the spirit. So whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, please put it in the chat, all right? Because that's what I'm trying to understand. Because they hid this fire and hid it in a hollow place of a pit without water, where they kept it sure, so the place was unknown to all men. So now, after many years, when it pleased Al-Hayim, Nakam Yahu, being sent from the king of Persia, did send the posterity of those priests that hid it to the fire. But when they told us they found no fire, but thick water, then commanded he them to draw it up and to bring it. And when the sacrifices were laid on, Nakam Yahu commanded the priests to sprinkle the wood and the things laid thereupon with the water. So it's like, how do you hide fire underneath water? You feel me? So he put this thick water. Now, when I first read this, I'm sitting thinking this is mercury, but it couldn't be, right? But it says, he ordered them to draw all the water up and to sprinkle the wood with that water. When this was done, and the time came that the sun shone, which afore was hid in the cloud, there was a great fire kindled, so that every man marveled. So it's like, was this a fuel instead of this so-called thick water? Was this like a gasoline, kerosene, something that is flammable? You know, I don't know. I'm just kind of tossing questions out there because I know what I'm reading, I understand it, but certain things are like, yo, I got questions too, family. You know, so if y'all got these same questions, if you got some of these answers, by all means, go ahead and put them in the chat. This is a safe space. All right. So then we made the prayer, and then after that, we get down here. So when this matter was known, it was told the king, because the king was told that Nakam commanded that the water was left to be poured on the great stones. When this was done, there was kindled a flame, but it was consumed by the light that shined from the altar. So when this matter was known, it was told the king of Persia that in the place where the priests that were led away had hid the fire, there appeared water, and that Nakam Yahu had purified the sacrifices therewith, meaning purified the sacrifices with that water. Then the king, enclosing the place, made it holy, after he had tried the matter. And the king took many gifts and bestowed thereof on those whom he would gratify. And Nakam Yahu called this thing Nathar, which is as much as to say a cleansing, but many men call it Nefu or Nafu. So, chapter 2. It is also found in the records that Jeremiah, the prophet, commanded them that were carried away to take of the fire, as it has been signified, and how that the prophet, having given them the Torah, charged them not to forget the commandments of Yahuwah, and that they should not err in their minds when they see images of silver and gold with their ornaments, and with other such speeches exhorted he them, that the Torah should not depart from their hearts. It was also contained in the same writing that the prophet, being warned of Al-Hayim, commanded the tabernacle and the ark to go with him, as he went forth into the mountain where Mashah climbed up, and saw the heritage of Al-Hayim. And when Yirmiyahu came thither, he found a hollow cave. Let's see here. Right here, a hollow cave wherein he laid the tabernacle and the ark and the altar of incense, and so stopped the door. And some of those that followed him came to mark the way, but they could not find it. Which when Yirmiyahu perceived, he blamed them, saying, as for that place, it should be unknown to all, unknown until the time, unknown until the time that Al-Hayim gather his people again together and receive them unto mercy. Then shall Yahuwah show them these things, and the glory of Yahuwah shall appear, and the cloud also, as it was showed under Mashah, and as when Shalomah desired that the place might be honorably sanctified. It was also declared that he, being wise, offered the sacrifice of dedication and of the finishing of the temple. And as when Mashah prayed unto Yahuwah, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the sacrifices. Even so prayed Shalomah also, and the fire came down from heaven and consumed as the ascending smoke offering. So real quick, this is beautiful, you know, as far as like this matter where we see that Yirmiyahu had taken the ark and hid it in a cave. And those that followed him tried to mark the way right here. And some of those that followed him came to mark the way, but they could not find it. Which when Yirmiyahu perceived, he blamed them, saying, as for that place, it shall be unknown until the time that Alhaim gather his people again together and receive them unto mercy. So that's powerful. It's very, very powerful. Right here. Let's keep moving. And as when Mashah prayed unto Yahuwah, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the sacrifices. Even so prayed Shalomah also, and the fire came down from heaven and consumed the ascending smoke offerings. And Mashah said, because the sin offering was not to be eaten, it was consumed. So Shalomah kept those 8 days. The same things also were reported in the writings and commentaries of Nakam Yahu, and how he founding a library gathered together the acts of the kings and the prophets and of David and the Sepharim of the kings concerning the holy gifts. In like manner also Yehuda gathered together all those things that were lost by reason of the war we had, and they remain with us. Wherefore, if ye have need thereof, send some to fetch them unto you. Whereas we then are about to celebrate the purification, we have written unto you, and ye shall do well if ye keep the same days. We hope also that the Alhaim that delivered all his people and gave them all a heritage and the kingdom and the priesthood and the sanctuary, as he promised in the Torah, will shortly have mercy upon us and gather us together out of every land under heaven into the holy place. For he has delivered us out of great troubles and has purified the place. Now, as concerning Yehuda Maccabee and his brethren, and the purification of the great temple, and the dedication of the altar, and the wars against Antiochus Epiphanes and Eupator his son, and the manifest signs that came from heaven unto those that behaved themselves manfully to their honor for Yahudaism, that so that being but a few, they overcame the whole country and chased barbarous multitudes, and recovered again the temple, renowned all the world over, and freed the city, and upheld the Torah which were going down, Yehuda being gracious unto them with all favor. All these things I say being declared by Yakan of Cyrene in 5 Sepharim of 5 books, we will essay to abridge in 1 volume. For considering the infinite number and the difficulty which they find that desire to look into the narrations of the story for the verity of the matter, we have been careful that they that will read may have delight, and that they that are desirous to commit to memory might have ease, and that it all into those, and my bad, Mislaki, and that all into whose hands it comes might have profit. So pause. Let's go back on through this just a little. So all through this is basically, unbeknownst to me, the same thing that I was saying from the very beginning of why it's so important to read these books of the Maccabees, right? So they're saying that concerning Yehuda Maccabee and his brethren everything that they did, the purification of the temple, the dedication of the altar, the wars against Antiochus, or all four Antiochuses, against all the Grecian empires and powers, every war that they went and chased out these barbarous multitudes, everywhere they went to what? And recovered again the temple, renowned all the world over, and freed the city, and upheld the Torah, which were going down. So the instructions that were going downward, by us not keeping the Torah, we started reaping the byproducts of the curses. This is what it means by which was going down. Yahuwah being gracious unto them with all favor, meaning being gracious unto the Maccabees with all favor. All these things I say being declared by Yakan of Cyrene in 5 Sepharim, in 5 books. So there's supposed to be 5 books that they condensed down of these Maccabees so that we could keep these in the memory. For considering the infinite number and the difficulty which they find that desire to look into the narrations of the story. So everything that was done in these books of the Maccabees, how difficult it was to keep these books, to write these books and to keep these books to survive all these centuries, especially with the historical evidence therein that backs up the fact that if you keep the Most High's Torah and have a courageous spirit within you to keep his commandments, it doesn't matter the number that you're up against. It does not matter. The Most High will protect you. So we have been careful that they that will read may have delight, that they that are desirous to commit to memory might have ease, and that all into those whose hands it comes might have profit. So may it benefit you to read these books, to understand this history of everything that happened to the Maccabee family and everything that they fought for the nation, to serve the Most High and to keep his Torah. Therefore to us that have taken upon us this painful labor of abridging, it was not easy, but a matter of sweat and watching, even as it is no ease unto him that prepares a banquet and seeks the benefit of others. Yet for the pleasuring of many, we will undertake gladly this great pains, leaving the author the exact handling of every particular and laboring to follow the rules of an abridgment. So following all the rules of keeping this writing, or being a historian, or being a scribe. For as the master builder of a new house must care for the whole building, but he that undertakes to set it out and paint it must seek out fit things for the adorning thereof. Even so, I think it is with us, to stand upon every point and to go over things at large, and to be curious and particulars belongs to the first author of the story, but to use brevity and avoid much laboring of the work is to be granted to him that will make an abridgment. Here then we will begin the story, only adding thus much to that which has been said, that it is a foolish thing to make a long prologue, and to be short in the story itself. Wow, that's powerful. So, chapter 3. Now, when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the Torah was kept very well because of the holiness of On Yahu, the high priest, and his hatred of wickedness, it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts. So much so that Seleucus of Asia and of his own revenues bore all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. But one Shimon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome on Yahu, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Theresias, who then was governor of Selo Aram and Phoenicia, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Now, when Apollonius came to the king and had shown him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Helidorus. I'm trying to Helidorus, his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the aforesaid money. So, for with Heliodorus, okay, here we go. Heliodorus. Seeing it from here to here was kind of messing me up, Misalaki family. So, for with Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Selo Aram and Phoenicia, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of the widows, or for relief of widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobiyahu, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Shimon had misinformed, the sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold, and that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place and to the majesty of the inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that it was anywise it must be brought into the king's treasury. Wow. So, oh my goodness, here we go again. With these heathens. They hear about some money, they name it and claim it. Ain't got nothing to do with them. It ain't theirs. But since it exists, it must belong to them. Oh my goodness. So this Heliodorus being told that there was an immeasurable amount of treasure in the treasury. Yeah, so all this money being held in the treasury, and he goes and tells the king, right? And so the king tells him to go and get the money and bring it to my treasury. The king of Greece, right? One of these Grecian kings says, bring me that money. That's my money. And so it's like, no, it ain't. It ain't got nothing to do with you. As a matter of fact, there's a whole great portion of it that belongs to Tobiyahu. It belongs to him, but he's doing it for he has given it in for the right reasons. So, oh my goodness. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury. Like, I don't care who put what where, that belongs to the king now. That's the king's money. That's his talents. Everything that you got there, that's not yours. It's the king's. It belongs to him. This is the foolishness that it starts upsetting me the more I even think about it. So, at the day which he appointed, he entered in the order, or into the order, this matter. Wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city, but the priests prostrating themselves before the altar in their priest vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a Torah concerning things given to be kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. Then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now in his heart. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. And the women, girt with sackcloth under their breasts, abound in the streets, and the virgins that were kept and ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows, and all, holding their hands toward heaven, made supplication. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. They then called upon El Shaddai, Yahu, or Yahuwah, to keep the things committed to trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now, as he was there, present himself with his guard about the treasury, Yahuwah, Sabaoth, and the prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of Al-Hayim, and fainted, and were sore afraid. For there appeared unto them a horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering, and he ran fiercely, and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet, and it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness. Complete harness of gold. Moreover, two other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes. And Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up, and put him into a litter. Thus him that lately came with a great train, and with all his guard, into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they acknowledged the power of Al-Hayim. For he, by the hand of Al-Hayim, was cast down, and lay speechless without all hope of life. But they praised Yahuwah that had miraculously honored his own place, for the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when El Shaddai Yahuwah appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Then straightway certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Oniyahu that he would call upon the Most High, El Elyon, to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the Ruach. So the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the Yahudim, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Now, as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Heliodorus, saying, "Give Oniyahu, the high priest, great thanks, so much so as for his sake Yahuwah has granted you life, and seeing that you have been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of Alhaim." And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto Yahuwah, and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Oniyahu, returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men the works of the great Alhaim, which he had seen with his eyes. And when the king saw Heliodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again into Jerusalem, he said, "If you have any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and you shall receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of Elohim. For he that dwells in heaven has his eye on that place and defends it, and he beats and destroys them that come to hurt it." Kaliyah. So, family, oh my goodness. So Heliodorus gets whooped, right? The Most High sends an apparition of a great man on a horse, huge, and the hooves like come right down in front of Heliodorus. The two men that appeared on each side of the horseman, this apparition, they scourged Heliodorus in front of everybody, beat him. So after they beat him, his people, that he brought with him, took him into a it says a litter, but I mean, you can only imagine it had to be like a room somewhere. Took him to a room somewhere that he could either heal up or think that he was safe. So they have him, he goes to Oniyahu and begged Oniyahu to make a sacrifice to save his life. And Oniyahu thinks about it. He's like, well, if this dude dies right here, his boss, his king, is going to think that we did something treacherous here. So I'll go ahead and do this, to save this man's life. And so the two men that were a part of the apparition that beat him and scourged him said, "Thank Oniyahu for saving your life." And then after that, testify to all men the power of the Most High. And so he did. He went back empty-handed, had no treasury money in his hand, and told the king what happened to him. Testified of the power. And the king is like, look, there's a traitor amongst you that did this thing to you, basically, right here. Verse 38, "If you have any enemy or traitor, send him thither, bring him here, and you shall receive him well scourged. And if he escape with his life, for in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of the Most High, or Alhaim." It's like, but if one of your people did this to you to convince me, basically, you know, bring them here, and I'll scourge them myself. But there is no doubt there is a special power of the Most High over that place, over in Jerusalem. And he does fight, defend against it. He has his eye on that place. For he that dwells in heaven has his eye on that place and defends it. And he beats and destroys them that come to hurt it. So it's like he partially believed them. He knows that the Most High protects Jerusalem. But as far as the beating and the scourging that he got and got sent back with his tail between his legs, he couldn't fully believe all of that. That's a good question. Just asking, would that have been Yahusha with two angels beside him? That's a good question. That's a really good question, Rachel. We're gonna pull that up for everybody else to, to ponder over that one too. Just asking, would that have been Yahusha with two angels beside him? Good question. Really good question. And if it wasn't Yahusha, then it would have been Mikael, at least. Oh, there's so much I can't wait to go over. Hold on 1 second, family. All right. All right. So, oh my goodness. And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sword. So, this Shimon now, all right, chapter 4. This Shimon now, of whom we speak afore, having been a betrayer of the money and of his country, slandered Oniyahu, as if he had terrified Heliodorus, and been the worker of these evils. Thus was he bold to call him a traitor, that had deserved well of the city, and tendered his own nation, and was so zealous of the Torah. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Shimon's faction murders were committed. Whoa, hold on, whoa, slow down. My bad. I'm reading this too fast. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Shimon's faction murders were committed, Oniyahu, seeing the danger of this contention, and that Apollonius, as being the governor of Selo Aram and Phoenicia, did rage and increase Shimon's malice. He went to the king, not to be an accuser of his countrymen, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet, and Shimon leave his folly, unless the king did look thereunto. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jachan, the brother of Oniyahu, labored underhand to be a high priest, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise, and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen. Oh no. Oh no, here we go again. And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. What? All right, pause. So Here we go. Here we go. So we got this Shimon right here, right? Now, I hope by now we're all able to see this is not the same Shimon from the first Maccabees. This is not the same one. At least I don't believe it's the same one. Because this Shimon right here, they saying is from the tribe of Benjamin. Where did it go? Oh goodness. Trying to catch it real quick. So that way we don't have any mistakes. Right here. But one Shimon of the tribe of Benjamin, right here. So, chapter 3, verse 4, right here. But one Shimon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. All right. So, this is not the same Shimon that is from the tribe of Yehuda and is of the Maccabee family. All right. So now this right here part, we got Shimon right here that is he doesn't like Oniyahu. Oniyahu is the high priest, and the high priest he's like, I don't know, man. He seems like a good brother on one side, but it really seemed as though when Heliodorus was there, that he was going to give Heliodorus all the money out of fear. But if it wasn't for the people and the other priests that saw his face, right? This is what the scripture says, is that they just saw his face, saw what he was getting ready to do. They saw what Oniyahu was getting ready to do. They saw that he had this face of that he was getting ready to do something he didn't want to do. And so the people prayed because there is a law about these things. When you go back into the Torah and you see that there is a law that if you sanctify something or promise to keep it for a reason, it must be used for that reason. That's called part of the dedication. When you dedicate your child, or you dedicate an altar, dedicate your field, or you dedicate anything, it must be used for that purpose. So there's a law about this, and the people that saw what Oniyahu was getting ready to do and letting this money go that was supposed to be for the fatherless and the widows, they prayed in intercession to make sure it didn't happen. And that's where the apparition came from, that the man on the horse, the mighty man on the horse, and the two men that came beside him that beat Heliodorus and gave him lashes in front of everybody. So now we have this Yakan, right? So this Yakan, the brother of Oniyahu, right, says labored underhand to be high priest. So his whole mission of being high priest was so that way he could be in possession or in control of all the treasury. Because right here it says, promising unto the king by intercession, 360 talents of silver and of another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more talents if he might have license to uh, set up a place of exercise, so gymnasium, Grecian gymnasium for homosexuality, basically. I mean, I'm calling it like it is. That's what's going on in them places. And for the training up of the youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. So instead of us being Yahudim of Jerusalem, we would have been Antiochians. Wickedness. No, they're in Jerusalem. He was trying to betray the whole nation. That's his goal, is to betray the whole nation. He promised so much money to the king that if he was high priest, that by him being Yakan, the younger or older brother, it just says the brother of Oniyahu, who is the high priest, he promised the king 360 talents of silver, another 80 talents of another revenue, and then another 150 more talents to give him license to set up a gymnasium. And that we would stop being Yehudi of Jerusalem, we would now be Antiochians. So, which when the king had granted, and when he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Yavanish fashion. So then started bringing in Grecian clothes and like different Grecian customs, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Yahudim by the means of Yachanan, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away and putting down the governments which were according to the Torah. He brought up new customs against the Torah, for he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of Yavani fashions, and increase of heathenism or heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Yakan, that wicked wretch, and no high priest, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the Torahless allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Yavanim best of all. So, because of Yakan, him being the brother of the high priest. Now, I don't know why the high priest, I don't know why Oniyahu didn't step in and do something about this and stop his brother from some of this foolishness, but it caused priests to walk away, to stop or start neglecting their duties in the temple and in the sanctuary. So when those things start happening, this is where we start seeing things go downhill. So, and then this Yakan, he starts bringing in not only gymnasiums, or he brought in a gymnasium underneath the tower, like a secret gym, and then Grecian fashions and customs and things, and starts having them wear hats like these certain kind of hats. Now I don't know what they look like, but regardless, they surely wasn't of our nation. And they surely wasn't of our tradition. So started getting the people to play Grecian games, the game of discus. So instead of not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Yavanim best of all, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the Torah of Alhaim, but the time following shall declare these things. So now when the game that was used every 4th year was kept at Tesor, the king being present, this ungracious Yakan sent special messengers from Jerusalem, who were Antiochians, to carry 300 drachmas of silver to the sacrifice of Hercules, which even the bearers thereof thought fit not to bestow upon the sacrifice, because it was not convenient, but to be reserved for other charges. This money then, in regard of the sender, was appointed to Hercules' sacrifice. But because of the bearers thereof, it was employed to the making of galleys. So they made hangman galleys with the money instead of using the money for Hercules' sacrifice. Either way, both foolish causes. Now, when Apollonius, the son of Manisteus, was sent to Mizraim for the coronation of King Ptolemy Philometor, Antiochus, understanding him not to be well affected to his affairs, provided for his own safety, whereupon he came to Yaffo, and from thence to Jerusalem, where he was honorably received of Yakan and of the city, and was brought in with torch alight and with great shoutings, and so afterward went with his host unto Phoenicia. 3 years afterward, Yakan sent Menelaus, the aforesaid Shimon's brother, to bear the money unto the king, and to put him in mind of certain necessary matters. But he being brought to the presence of the king, when he had magnified him for the glorious appearance of his power, got the priesthood to himself, offering more than Yakan by 300 talents of silver. So he came with the king's mandate, bringing nothing worthy of the high priesthood, but having the fury of a cruel tyrant and the rage of a savage beast. Then Yakan, who had undermined his own brother, being undermined by another, was compelled to flee into the country of the Ammonims, or the Ammonites. So Menelaus got the principality, but as for the money that he had promised unto the king, he took no good order for it, albeit Sostratus, the ruler of the castle, required it. For unto him appertained the gathering of the customs, wherefore they were both called before the king. Now Menelaus left his brother Lysimachus in his stead in the priesthood, and Sostratus left Crates, who was governor of the Cyprians. Dang, a lot of names, a lot of people coming in and out of this story. All right. So we're definitely seeing, I think some of this is kind of rewinding, because I'm not for sure exactly when a whole other Antiochus comes into this play. Yeah, for personal gain. Underhand tactics, once again, for personal gain. Facts. So um, we definitely see that this Yakan right here, this might have been, like I said, because they're still talking about Ptolemy being king of Mizraim, or the ruler in Mizraim. We're also seeing that um, they brought in this Antiochus character again. Now, the last Antiochus that we just got done seeing in this particular book, the Second Maccabees, to my knowledge, it had to have been the fourth Maccabee, the fourth Antiochus, the great grandson of the first Antiochus that started to rain terror upon Jerusalem because we started going astray. And this is part of the byproduct of the curses. So I'm not quite as certain as if it's kind of like a bit of a flashback as to some of these wicked men that First Maccabees tells us right in the beginning, that they were wicked men that brought Grecian customs into Jerusalem. And so now in Second Maccabees, is it that we are getting the names of these people and how this First Maccabees actually played out? Because what we did get right here in the third chapter was where might have been the second chapter. Yeah, second chapter. So right here. So they're trying to let us know in this second chapter, even as it is no ease unto him that prepares a banquet and seeks the benefit of others, um, yet for the pleasure of many we will undertake gladly this great pains, leaving to the author the exact handling of every particular and laboring to follow the rules of an abridgment. So, for as the master builder of a new house must care for the whole building, he that undertakes to set it out and paint it must seek out fit things for the adorning thereof. Even so, I think it is with us to stand upon every point and to go over things at large, and to be curious in particulars belongs to the first author of the story. But to us, brevity and avoid much laboring of the work is to be granted to him that will make an abridgment. So all of this writing is considered an abridgment because they condensed everything down into 4 books instead of 5. So here then we will begin the story, only adding thus much to that which has been said, that it is a foolish thing to make a long prologue and to be short in the story itself. So maybe we are getting, historically, we're getting some prologue information, things that happened that we didn't see in the first Maccabees, we're getting told here in Second Maccabees. That's what I'm getting from this, because they're bringing up things that showed some of our downfall. And then you have these different characters that, well, this character, goodness. Right here, Yakan. This Yakan right here, that after he already brought in, he was one of the wicked men that brought in Grecian customs and clothes and gymnasium. So he's getting pointed out here in the Second Maccabees. Then you have some of the people that under his guidance, under his rule, that consented to call themselves Antiochians. These right here. This ungracious Yakan sent special messengers from Jerusalem who were Antiochians. So you could basically call these niggas sellouts, flat out. Flat out. To carry 300 drachmas of silver. Right? So let's get back over here. So this Yakan, after being undermined by another, was compelled to flee into the country of the Ammonites. So then we have these other peoples. We have Menelaus. We have Lysimachus right here. We have Sostratus. These people jump into the story. Right? So we can only tell that these are Grecians, they're Grecian names and things of that sort. So let's pick it right back up here, verse 30. While those things were enduing, they of Tarsus and Malos made insurrection because they were given to the king's concubine called Antiochus. Then came the king in all haste to appease matters, leaving Andronicus, a man in authority, for his deputy. Now Menelaus, supposing that he had gotten a convenient time, stole certain vessels of gold out of the temple and gave some of them to Andronicus. And some he sold into Tessor and the cities round about, which when Oniyahu knew of a surety, he reproved him and withdrew himself into a sanctuary at Daphne that lies by Antioch. Wherefore Menelaus, taking Andronicus apart, prayed him to get Oniyahu into his hands, who being persuaded thereunto, and coming to Oniyahu in deceit, gave him his right hand with oaths. And though he were suspected by him, yet persuaded he him to come forth of the sanctuary, whom forthwith he shut up without regard of justice. For the which cause not only the Yahudim, but many also of other nations took great indignation, and were much grieved for the unjust murder of the man. And when the king was come again from the places about Cilicia, the Yahudim that were in the city, and certain of the Yavanim that abhorred the fact also, complained because Oniyahu was slain without cause. Therefore Antiochus was heartily sorry, and moved to pity, and wept because of the sober and modest behavior of him that was dead. And being kindled with anger, forthwith he took away Andronicus his purple, and rent off his clothes, and leading him through the whole city unto the very place where he had committed impiety against Oniyahu. There slew he the cursed murderer. Thus Yahuwah rewarded him his punishment as he had deserved. So we see that this Andronicus betrayed Oniyahu and killed him. Now, being that Oniyahu was high priest, and he was actually pretty upright. Now, only out of fear did we see earlier on in this story any fault of his own, that he was about to betray the whole nation in giving this treasury money over to Apollonius. It was only for fear that he was going to do this. It wasn't out of being shady. So that was his only downfall that I've seen thus far, until he went to hide himself off, and this Andronicus stole money and rain or vest. Says that he stole vessels from the treasury or from the temple, and once he found out about it, Oniyahu had reproved him, so we pretty much called him out to the point where Andronicus was like, "This guy got to go. I gotta kill him before he keep telling too many people, and then they're gonna come get me." So it got back to Antiochus that Andronicus had done this thing, that he had killed Oniyahu, and so this Antiochus, I don't know which one this is. He went ahead and had him pretty much beaten all the way to leading him through the whole city unto that very place where he had committed impiety against Oniyahu. There slew he the cursed murderer. Thus Yahuwah rewarded him his punishment as he had deserved. So now when many sacrileges had been committed, sacrileges had been committed in the city by Lysimachus with the consent of Menelaus, and the fruit thereof was spread abroad, the multitude gathered themselves together against Lysimachus, many vessels of gold being already carried away, whereupon the common people rising and being filled with rage, like Lysimachus armed about 3,000 men and began first to offer violence. One Arrhenius, being the leader, a man far gone in years and no less in folly, they then seeing the attempt of Lysimachus, some of them caught stones, some clubs, others taking handfuls of dust that was next at hand, cast them all together upon Lysimachus and those that set upon them. Thus many of them they wounded, and some they struck to the ground, and all of them they forced to flee. But as for the temple robber himself, him they killed beside the treasury. Of these matters, therefore, there was an accusation laid against Menelaus. Now, when the king came to Tessor, 3 men that were sent from the Senate pleaded the cause before him. But Menelaus, being now convicted, promised Ptolemy, the son of Doramenes, to give him much money if he would pacify the king toward him. Whereupon Ptolemy, taking the king aside into a certain gallery, as it were to take the air, brought him to be of another mind, so much so that he discharged Menelaus from the accusations, who notwithstanding was cause of all the mischief. And those poor men, who if they had told their cause, yea, before the Scythians, should have been judged innocent, them he condemned to death. So I had to highlight the Scythians right quick, man, because so much so that he discharged Menelaus from the accusations, who notwithstanding was cause of all the mischief. And those poor men, who if they had told their cause, yea, before the Scythians, should have been judged innocent, them he condemned to death. Thus they that followed the matter for the city and for the people and for the holy vessels did soon suffer unjust punishment. Wherefore even they of Tessor, moved with hatred of that wicked deed, caused them to be honorably buried. And so through the covetousness of them that were of power, Menelaus remained still in authority, increasing in malice and being a great traitor to the citizens. So Wow. I think I think this right here, like this is, oh my goodness. Shalom Carisi Reed, long time no see. Shalom, shalom. All right, so a whole lot going on here. A whole lot. So I think once again, this is a bit of a prologue of some things that happened before the first Maccabees, right here in the second Maccabees. We're seeing that this Lysimachus, people had threw stones at him and came after him because he was one of the people that started getting violent. Whereupon the common people rising and being filled with rage, Lysimachus armed about 3,000 men and began first to offer violence. All right. So some people started fighting back, throwing rocks and clubs and everything else. And so the person who was really to blame at start was this Menelaus. This Menelaus had caused a whole lot of mischief. And so somehow, some way, it gets back to the king because, you know, this Menelaus begs Ptolemy. Uh, he promised Ptolemy, being now convicted, he promised him, you know, to give him much money if he would pacify the king. So the king not only got him out of the trouble that he was in Jerusalem for all the things that he was doing, but basically kept him in power. And so we start seeing this domino effect. So historically, it all starts with, just like it does in First Maccabees, telling us that there are wicked men in Jerusalem of the tribe of Yehuda. One of these we saw was Yakan. Now, not only Yakan, but we also see that there was a Benjamite named Shimon that was governor at that time. And he was already like kind of like he was wicked at heart and was definitely ready to betray the nation for the Grecians. We had a lot of these things going on at this particular point. And so what we're seeing now by these Grecians coming in and starting to lay hands and you know, not just lay hands, but commit violence against our people in Jerusalem, that we see that ultimately all of these things are a byproduct of the curses because we didn't keep the Torah. As soon as this whole notion of bringing in foreign customs came in, by the power of by the understanding of the Torah, and by keeping the Torah, that would have got dealt with. It was supposed to have got dealt with, but it didn't. And so since that slid for a little bit of time, and then you have this Yakan that not only he brought in these gymnasiums and Grecian customs and things like that, and then starts bringing in clothing, and then starts bringing in some of their games, this discus, and then we start seeing that every 4 years, we know that that's the Olympics. You know, by this time, we know that every 4 years they do an Olympics, these Grecians and Romans. So every 4 years, they started incorporating these same customs of the Grecians and Romans in Jerusalem. And so by doing these things and not keeping these things out, to never incorporate these things in Jerusalem, period, this is where curses start coming in. This is where we start, our hearts become ripe for judgment because we didn't keep wickedness and evil out of the land. So that's another reason why it's so important to pay attention to how historically our nation fell in different areas. And because this is also another reason why it's so important to read and study the law, study the statutes. Also pay attention to how, when as times change, by studying the law, the statute of limitations changes a little as well. So, case in point, there was a discussion that got brought up earlier on today at Seventh Day Harvest about a question that got brought up, like, you know, if a woman is unclean, is in her menstrual period right now, should she be kept away from the feast days or not be, or the assembly in this day and age? And so, family, like, I understand what the scripture says as it pertained to when it was written. The same thing that Moray Douglas had said, you know, Moray Zumayahu had said at Seventh Day Harvest today. You have to understand when these laws were written. You have to also understand that these are statutes as well. And these statutes do have limitations. And these statutes do change throughout time. So, and circumstance, that's right. Because back then, women didn't have maxi pads and Kotex and all these different things and tampons, all these things. Y'all didn't have none of these things. The blood just ran down your legs and was all over your clothes, or yeah, right, all of that. So things have changed. Things have changed so dramatically over these centuries that these same laws and statutes that were written for way back then, they don't need to be kept the same today.
Can you explain what a statute is?
A statute is the condition of man, or the condition of mankind, the condition of the people. All right, that's what it. So, meaning that the same scenario that I just brought up about when the law was written about a woman being in her menstrual uncleanness, in the day in which the law was written, the condition of the people in that day and time not having maxi pads, Kotex, tampons, whatever feminine products y'all have nowadays, panty liners, all these things like that, they did not exist. So, being that they did not exist, this statute of the law was to be kept as such.
So, is a statute another word for circumstance?
Yes, yes. Circumstance, condition, yes, absolutely. So, being that the times have changed, and now y'all ladies have these feminine care products, we don't need to keep that same statute the same way. It doesn't play out like that. That's why studying the law is so important.
And keeping things in context.
Facts.
And remembering that time, that era.
Right, right. So that's another good thing. Oh, Kali Yada, Carissa Reed said, I miss your teachings at Red Letter. Appreciate that. Kali Yada, that means all praises. All praises. Kali Yada Yahuwah. All praises to Yahuwah. So by reading these stories right here, these historical stories of the Maccabees, these things that happen right here, it's another important reason why we have to pay attention to what happened then, to what's happening now, and how these scenarios interweave. And that's why it's so important. And so we're going to stop right here, and we'll pick up, most high willing, we'll pick up next week in chapter 5. But I got some new music for y'all, so I pray y'all stick around for that, because oh my goodness, we got some good music for y'all. Um, one in which the first song I'm going to play after we pray on out is from a Christian rapper that I believe, in my opinion, is in the very beginnings of his awakening. And I think it's because, in my opinion, like I said, it's my opinion, is because of some of the language in which he's starting to use now. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like he's just now coming into an awakening. So we're gonna play a song from man.
Or he could be awakened already and still just regarding himself as a Christian. Like some of who is it? I think one of the guys we listen to on YouTube
You mean like Bizzle?
refer themselves as a Christian still. I
Oh
think
yeah.
Dotson, what's his name?
Oh, you probably thinking like Zadok.
No, I'm talking about something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Somebody,
Oh, Dante Fortune.
there you go. I'm not
Okay.
saying it
Okay.
wrong. Yeah, I think he refers himself as a Christian still, because he receives Messiah, because we know, yeah, and that stuff.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and pray on out right quick, and then get it in with some of this music to where we can get our Bantu
Yeah,
breakdance
let's
on.
hurry up because you got such a big smile. I want to hear it.
Oh yeah. Whew. Abba Yahuwah, Most High Yav Yasharal, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you so much for your word that has gone forth. We thank you so much for being able to keep us paying attention and asking some questions here and there. I pray that you deliver answers unto everybody that has questions, whether it be me or anybody else in the chat. That if we didn't get a chance to address the question right now about this fire that was taken away from the altar and hidden in like a pit area, and then all of a sudden that area has is filled with water. It's like, how do you hide fire underwater? It's like, so these things like this, very good questions. Then who was on that horse? Who was that rider? And the angels that were next to him that scourged, um um oh my goodness, Helios, or what's this guy's name? I said it so fast. Now I got, yes, but I still got to go back to read this right here because I don't want to mess this thing up. Heliodorus, this guy Heliodorus. Abba, we thank you for pointing these things out and making us ask these questions of who was that angel on the horse, who was the man on the horse, and the angels that were with him. Abba, help us understand some of these different circumstances that keep coming about, and help us have discernment and pay attention to the spirit on those that would contend to do these same things in this day and age, that would be so wicked as to give over treasury money in the places where they shouldn't. We ask that you would keep us fervent in our obedience unto you, that when we declare to be obedient to something, or we declare to um, offer something to you or dedicate something to you, that we would keep it that way. Same as the people did that interceded in this story right here, whereas they saw that this treasury money was about to get handed over, and they wanted to make sure that it was protected, that it was kept safe, so that way it could be donated to the fatherless and the widow. Abba, we ask that all these same things give us this mindset, renew our hearts and our minds to keep us fervently obedient, prepare us for the way, prepare us for the wilderness, prepare us for New Jerusalem. In your name and your son, Yahushua HaMashakah, we pray. So be it, and it is so. All right. So, let's see here. Yeah, that Bantu breakdance right there. Yeah, let's get it. So this first song right here, and family, I hope y'all are tuning in. This is from Jay Monty, called Abba. All right. And so if this video gets flagged and I gotta take this song out, just know that it was probably because of this song. All right. So because I don't know if he's got a record deal right now or not, but I know he used to be signed to Sony Records, or one of the big time record labels, but he got out of that record deal. So he's no longer under that record deal, to the best of my understanding. So if this video gets flagged and gets snatched down for a hot second, it'll probably be because I have to edit this song out of this video. So let's get it right on in with J Monty, Abba, and then we got some other songs coming right on up, right along with this. We got some brand new Yom. We got some brand new Aquan. We got some good tracks for y'all. And I got another track called Maccabees that y'all need to pay attention to as well. So let's get it.
Hey, just got out the club, devil out here stealing crops. If he don't stop, I go Oppenheimer on the arm. It's like a bomb when I drop. Jesus was walking with 12, but they was in the cops. Clayco, we came up on Flocka. Baby, I stay around my dog, but she know I'm a caller. It's me, Katara, and soccer. When I'm with Abba, I'm flying by, saying like I'm awful. Young rapper say he a baller, must think he Andre Iguodala. He signed for some shrimp and some steak. He must think an entree equal dollars. Follow the author, it's easy to step on your flow, cause he taught me to walk on the water. They think I'm a pop collar, college scholar, alma mater, young Monty B with Abba father. I came in the room, breaking the rules, making the move. The flow is an ocean, a lake, a lagoon. I was in the waiting room, now they playing my tune. Praying to whom, made it out the grave and tomb. Same mission, ain't switching, plain vision, you can't miss them. I came with the same description, you play games, I'ma break the system. I take aim, that's a vein in your brain, hurt, they type in my name. But I can't get into dimensions, I pray in the spirit, the interdimensions. Interdimensional when I enter mentals through instrumentals. I'm flipping the riddle, I sit with the pencil, I scribble and scrabble, I dabble a little, I dibble a lot of a pencil, apostle, got rid of the bottle, I'm switching the throttle. From the south where they listening to Lotto, young Monty, young, giving them the motto. I came to eliminate, not to administrate. Run it back what I'm finna say. Any D-minded rapper can get on my dinner plate. They could never intimidate. If you talk down on Jesus and you make disintegrate, that's how you disintegrate. Time to renovate. Whipping cables, flipping tables. Forget your label, I sit with the angels. Since the cradle, I've been switching angles. Get in the way, I will send your ankles. Scripture change you when it penetrates you. This ain't grade school, but the penetrates you. In the A, Yahweh is who you pray to. In the A, they play you, then betray you. If you drive a Audi, they'll race you. If they want you Audi, they'll race you. No, I ain't changing position. I play like an 89 Piston. Oh no, I ain't past the mic, but if you pass the mic, then I'm spitting. He came from Nazareth, the Calvary catalyst. You can't find a block on Lake and MIC sat with no savages, scavenging. Now we apostolic applicants. I just got out the clock. Devil out here stealing crops. If he don't stop, I go Oppenheimer on the ark. It's like a bomb when I drop. Jesus was walking with 12, but he wasn't no cop. Clayco, we came up on Flocka. Baby, I stay around my dog, but she know I'm a caller. It's me, Katara, and soccer. When I'm with Abba, I'm flying by, saying like I'm awful. Young rapper say he a baller, must think he Andre Iguodala. He signed for some food on his plate. He must think an entree equal dollars. Follow the author, it's easy to step on your flow when he taught me to walk on the water. They think I'm a pop collar, college scholar, alma mater, young Monty B with Abba father.
And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Spirit on swole like an athlete. Last days and you pass asleep. Amalek still after me. Ain't nothing changed for a Maccabee.
Ace on the beat.
Rededicate our temples to the Most High. What? I take you back to the 2nd century BC. Who we be, Maccabees. Epiphany of the seas, disbelief in my peeps. But we be Maccabees. I take you back to the 2nd century BC. Who we be, Maccabees. Epiphany of the seas, disbelief in my peeps. But we be Maccabees. Yeah, they spake peaceable words, but it all was deceit. Changing of the laws was the creed. We had wicked man in our land, taking all that we need, giving it all to the king. Hellenized in the minds of a child, our demise. Telling lies to our seeds. Compromise was the signs of the times when you read. Maccabees rather bleed. We didn't put up trees, eat turkeys, trick or treat. We just stuck to the creed. In the midst of the siege, dedicated with the feast. Lord knows we believe. They sacrifice swine flesh and every beast unclean. A sight in Israel never seen. The result that we may forget the love that we breathe. Epiphanies had a clever scheme. I take you back to the 2nd century BC. Who we be? Maccabees. Epiphany of the siege, just belief in my peeps. But we be Maccabees. Yeah, I take you back to the 2nd century BC. Who we be? Maccabees. Epiphanies of the siege, just belief in my peeps. But we be Maccabees. Woe is me, was I born just to see this misery? Delivered in the hands of enemies. Her temple is destroyed, infants slain in the streets. Is this the curse that we reaped? To the end, therefore, shall we live by any means? We will not be friends of the king. To the power on high, we gon' die by the law, no matter how unseemly it seems. I'm a martyr for the Father, but I'm trying to survive. But to die is precious in his eyes. If I choose to abuse my position with a lie to my nation, that's a lesson in disguise. I just pray that my zeal for the law is applauded by the elders that sit amongst the throne. And I pray that I'm justified in your eyes to rise. I hope this right my wrong. I take you back to the 2nd century BC. Who we be? Maccabees. Epiphany of the siege, just belief in my peeps. But we be Maccabees. Yeah, I take you back to the 2nd century BC. Who we be? Maccabees. Epiphanies of the siege, just belief in my peeps. But we be Maccabees. Word up. Now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation. For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered for any long time, but forthwith punished. For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbears to punish, till they come to the fullness of their sins. So dealeth he with us, Maccabees. Lest that, being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. And therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us. And though he punish with adversity, yet doth he never forsake his people. But let this that we be spoken for a warning unto us. And now will we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words. Shalom.
Yeah, north side.
You are now flying.
Check it. Look, it's a cold world. They still slaughtering the Jews like a wholesale. Ain't trying to turn on the news, I'm seeing all hell. They trying to catch all my juniors, them jails Odell. We in a spot where the hitters be. All they know is drama and nicotine. The sticks we got, give them epiphanies. Nigga, you kidding me? Ain't no flip that could get you as lit as these. The script turned the crip into mystic clean. That's really the plan though. Had us chained with the minds and manacles. Couple verses, now they thought sabbaticals. We international, that's a booster for the sick and the weak. We got the missions moving, lifting the speech. Capiche? I'm in the league with commandos, creasing a pants stove, seeking the beast till the C-speed is handled. That's the results when the saints pop out. We in the paint until the space pop out. Yeah.
Yeah. They say I'm too black, so I don't fit in the system. Miseducated, but somehow we got wisdom. These niggas ain't looking the same. Crash course about the Jews going missing. Black men forced federal religion. They tried to stretch us far, but couldn't break our bands. We held tight though. When short on gold, they chopped hands. I'm angry, but what do? I know my on a topic doesn't make things better. I speak up, I know my influence could bring change. I'm more patient now, knowing that we've been through pain. This is the breakthrough. To raise a family, it takes two. But missing fathers was forced on us. I never knew my pops. This whole system was shot. It was the system I blame. We never had a relationship. The closest we got was exchanging names. Prison doors had pops trapped in confined walls and spaces. Mistakes he made landed him in bad places. Damn, no wonder why I hate these races. Just to see him make the right choices in life, I switched places. Knowing just the impact on my life, I needed that. This is the story of men who black, but who got our back? I looked high and saw a black guy. Praise of his saints. These songs are so sweet. Until that day, prayers to the east. I'm a feast with my brethren, joy and peace with my brethren. Who really ready for the kingdom of heaven? Yeah.
Oh, see, I was just trying to get that title in there. That was the Boondocks. The name of that track is called The Boondocks, featuring Solomon the Jew and Nazir the Chosen. Let's get it on in with the next one.
What is this?
Leviticus 23:1. And Ahijah spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Ahijah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feast days.
We gotta keep them, yeah, we gotta keep them. Commandments, statutes, and feast days. Gotta keep them, yeah, we gotta keep them. Commandments, statutes, and feast days. Commandments, statutes, and feast days.
The feast days and commandments, I'ma keep them till it's over. And I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Nah, I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Nah, I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Yeshaya saved me from the wicked. I'm a servant with my soul. I can't keep my tradition no more. I can't keep my tradition no more. I can't keep my tradition no more. Look, let's talk about Passover. They came and it's passed over. Replaced it with Easter. And now you ask them about Passover. They don't know what it is. Don't know what it means. Forgot about Moses and everything in between. But if you ask them about Christmas, Thanksgiving, or Halloween, they be ready for turkey candy and what's under that tree. But what about the first fruits, / feast of the weeks, and the blowing the trumpets? They don't know about these. And if your pastor ain't keeping them, then he need to reread. And you need to recruit, cause he'll whoop to the sheep. These holy days from a higher, holy days to our king. And if I know that they keep them, then I'ma keep them indeed. Celebrate the atonement, I don't want nothing to eat. Don't give me nothing to drink, just hand me my books to read. The Father gave me my talents and I ain't sitting on these. I ain't burying nothing, shaking the beds of the sleep. Just feast days and commandments, I'ma keep them till it's over. And I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Nah, I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Nah, I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Yeshaya saved me from the wicked. I'm a servant with my soul. I can't keep my tradition no more. I can't keep my tradition no more. I can't keep my tradition no more. Look, for the Feast of Tabernacle, I built me a tabernacle. Me, my brothers and sisters, we sleeping in tabernacle. Agenda is simple. I'ma keep serving the true power. Might be young in my walk, but devout, just like a stallion. Keeping the statues attached. If your life a little sour and your walk is good long, but dedication is power. For the feast of dedication, I'm giving light like a tower. A higher, a strong tower, and he got infinite power. That's why I feel so empowered to deliver this truth. Been serving Satan so long, I had to surrender this truth. Swimming in wickedness from age 12 to 22. The field sitting in my limbs. At 28, I was through. Giving gifts on Purim to the homeless folks, I salute. So thankful for all my struggles. I know what y'all going through. Yeah, I know what y'all going through. Well, I don't know like y'all know, but the feast days and commandments, I'ma keep them till it's over. And I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Nah, I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Nah, I ain't gonna stop until it's over. Yeshaya saved me from the wicked. I'm a servant with my soul. I can't keep my tradition no more. I can't keep my tradition no more.
statues, and feast days. Commandments, statues, and feast days.
I want you to ask yourself, what is your reason? What is the reason you fight? What is the reason you live? What is the reason you breathe? If you was to ask me, Yah's my reason. Lord, shout out to Yahuwah with his light beaming down on my face. Let his light reflect out me, get out my way. Pardon me if we not the same. It's simple, plain, I'm in my lane. Put that message in the trenches, we just do this Abba's way. No Carlito, what's a C-note when Yahuwah be your riches? I just want to live it scriptly. Opposite you in them ditches. With that word, you living sickly. Even worse if you live iffy. Watch them devils, they be tricky. Guard my crown, I can't be slipping at all. Don't do the fake, I see you lying on blogs. They be wondering where's y'all. Look, I don't get involved. This my therapy, reflection on my life on these bars. Tell you my flaws, show my scars. You gon' judge me for all, but who cares when you know you got the king in your corner? When I was weak and down to thirst, he brought me living water. There's so many that would like me, so I pray daily for 'em. No longer till the world conform. Raise my trumpet up the wall. I used to think like a child when I was a little chick. Used to live like wild till I got me some sense. Yeah, Torah put me on, taught me how to live. Got a whole lot of faith, I don't have no fear. Look, this little mustard seed gon' keep me strong, all I'm knowing. I'm not folding my eyes open. If it's wicked, I ain't going. Just enduring to the end to see the kingdom for the chosen. This fight is with the flesh, I won't surrender. I'm too focused with living better. Pray my action make them proud. Way before I found the scripts, I was lost, but now I'm found. Blocking spirits that's familiar to the ways I used to live. Came out of bondage, I was drowning. Now my mind full of sound and I'm living. Life be good, been at peace since the scripts came. Oh, hallelujah for the king, brought me from the pain. I overcame my distractions and desires. I only trust the Father, let their word be true and man a liar. But we to blame cause we didn't listen to Abba. Instead we took his word for granted, treated y'all like an option. World planted this seeds up in our mind with these concoctions. I pray you plainly see without Yahuwah life it I used to think like a child when I was a little chick. Used to live like wild till I got me some sense. Yeah, Torah put me on, taught me how to live. Got a whole lot of faith, I don't have no fear. I used to think like a child when I was a little chick. Used to live like wild till I got me some sense. Yeah, Torah put me on, taught me how to live. Got a whole lot of faith, I don't have no fear.
You are now flying.
Okay, we pull up in the hood where they say it ain't safe. It's all good, little nigga, we straight. We ain't doing nothing wrong, we just tryna be great. And show them love in our enemies' face. They say it's a marathon, funny cause my guy racist. They hate this, we on the block with the basics. And we ain't talking nothing, just a sword, that's a Cambridge. And we don't care about what they say. Everybody put your hands up if you feel good today. Hit the brody up like what's good today. You hit me back like y'all really feeling good today. Probably about to hit another hood today. Now I'm swerving on the fly mission, but we like to call it serving. Cold on the hater, Iceman, George Gervin. Scriptures cutting deep, it's guaranteed to leave you hurting. Now tell me what the word is. We probably about to pull up in the hood where they say it ain't safe. It ain't safe.
A lot of these niggas be in chairs, they can't stand us. Hearing us march is like an anthem. Yeah, we heal the sick, the lame, we tell them stand up. But some of these niggas is bitter, they bring cancer. Some of these preach for higher, we bring answers. Like karate, we keep growing higher and higher. Stole my treasure to heaven, that's a wire transfer. We in dangerous places, but we still sad. Waiting at home is a high play. Oh, you think you hard with your AK? I got 140 was such a mad time, like trying to figure out where to fit in. Bishop pulled up on me and told me, Lil, I'ma get in. This was on the side, but we posted some like we're fishing. This was well accepted, no longer know what we're getting. Super Saiyan demons and doctors, some like we're Goku. 1611 King James Version, that's where we go to. Just keep on your seatbelt and know that there ain't no eating. And if you see them cherries and berries, don't get too scary, Mrs. Officer, Mrs. Officer. Please take the handcuffs off of us. We ain't hurt nobody, so get off of us. And reading 1611 is the law for us. You ain't my kin, but excuse my friend. I represent the jungle, I'ma say that then. I remember Holy Spirit now from way back when. And I know you pulled me over, cause from way back then.
We probably about to pull up in the hood where they say it ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't safe.
Oh, family. One more for you. One more track from Yom. It's called Let's Talk. Now, this right here, he says something so profound in here, all right? I know you're going to catch it as soon as you hear it, so please listen.
Mic check, 1, 2. Protect the crowd. Hey, I'ma take my time for a second. Just pay attention. Let's talk. Nowadays I'm to myself, I might be hard to reach. Transparent to the ones who feel where I see. Ain't got no time for the devil, get behind me. I'm on my job, spread the good news, help the blind see. Sometimes I sit alone, reflecting on these thoughts. Don't need no weed or drink for me to tap into them clouds. Learning from the one who sits above me looking down. Oh, heaven knows, I just wanna make you proud. Like that my child, when you see me, see my father in me. Yahusha is the image, but that's no PNG. Let the tires screech, cause all that wicked in my rear view. Since I found Yahuwah, got a clear view. Came a long way from them church pews. Forgive me, Abba, if I knew I would've chose you. Life's a challenge, so for balance, gotta know you. And that's on life, cause it's way too much going on not to have you by my side. Get inside, Abba. I done dusted out the furniture just for you. My life pursuit is never about the loot. You trusting in some paper that can burn. You ain't got a clue on what you living in. Sinning not a win. Don't want them curses. I'm trying to stay away from sin. The world so damaged. Protect the family. Protect my ground, that holy ground. Pray I'm standing in. On that day when them saints go marching in. Life is like a vapor. One day it's gonna end. Where you gonna go? I guess that's the question. But most of y'all too caught up in your pleasure. I can't front that wasn't me before. I got some things from my past that I'm not happy for. I've been just where you at, I feel you need to know that we all got some things we need repentance for. Please, don't grow weary when you walk this road. Make sure you keep your light bright, don't you ever fold. Yeah. Don't you ever fold. Make sure you keep your light bright. Don't you ever fold. Yeah. We just wanna please out. That's it. So now that we know, we gon' do better. We gon' live better. Even if you feel like you don't fail too many times, all you gotta do is get up. Get up. And I promise, he got you. Yeah, but you gotta try. It's your heart said. It ain't what you look like on the outside. Nah. Cause see, you can't think that them fringes make you righteous. You can't think that you eat clean, that mean you clean on the inside. You can't think just cause you know some scripture that make you righteous in Yahuwah's eyes. See, it's only when Yahuwah dwell in us that we know how to serve him. Alright, let's get to the rest of the album.
Yeah, that was very, very, very profound. Everything he spoke right at everything, the whole track was fire, you know what I'm saying? But something that, you know, a lot of people do need to understand that it's not the fringes. It's not even ultimately what you eat. I mean, it helps, yes, but ultimately it is your spirit. It is your heart posture. I mean, you can know all the scripture you want to know, but it's the application thereof. It's not the really remembering all of the book, chapter, verse of everything. It's walking it out. It's living it out. It's the application thereof. that's the most important part, to understanding what the Most High wants from you and how he seeks to dwell inside of you. It's the application in every facet of your life. It's not remembering the words, it's the living it out, it's the walking it out. That's where it counts. So, love y'all, family. Love y'all. That's right. Profound indeed. So on point, you know. I love y'all, family. And most high willing, we'll see y'all again soon. What you got before we go, baby?
Stay with the spirit of the Most High. Always seek Him diligently. He says, "Seek me, and you shall." He said, "Knock, seek me, knock, and I shall answer.
Mm-hmm.
Seek, and you shall find."
There you go.
You gotta seek Him for all clarity, guidance, and correction. Remember, guys, with every challenge you have, there is something to see that you ain't seen. There is something to learn, and they may be just something to change. When we ask the Most High for something, He'll hear us. And if it's in His will, He may just give it to us in a way that we don't expect, but just know that He's in control and He knows best. And we out.
We out. Yeah. I want y'all to hit me up. You know, Shalom to the scattered remnant, soon to be regathered. Thank you, Yasharaz and Yazaret. Call Yada Yahuwah. I'm wanting to get these things. I got some things I got to catch up with y'all on. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to get this book did for y'all.
Outro.
You hear this? All right, bro. I suppose. And we out, family. Shalom.